listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And what's up? I'm her husband, Fuzz, and I push the buttons here on this old podcast. Yeehaw.
There's like a light behind your head, and your hair is fluffy and glowing. And it's
Do I look like
funny.
an angel, Shanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
cool.
everyone.
Hello.
It's episode 80.
We're in the 80s.
That's so crazy to me.
It is.
It's so
I
fun.
still remember back in
episode 1.
back in the day. In
When I started to tell you
2018.
about
Was
a
it 2018 when we
piece or
started?
two of technology, and it's been like 1,000 of them since because I have a hard time talking about just a piece or two.
I have to talk about a piece or 20 of technology
Yeah.
that you can use in your classroom or your husband can play with for hours on end with his daughter at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
So when we started this, I think we brought it up in December of 2018,
It started in 2019.
and then we started in January of 2019,
And we did all 2019,
and now
all
it's
2021.
2021, and we're on season 3.
Episode 80.
We're like in the throes of season 3.
Yeah.
Like deep in there.
Yeah.
Like need a machete to like cut through the jungle of
We're like halfway
seasons.
through season 80.
Yeah.
Season 80.
Whoa. We're real old, and we're
Yeah. So.
but it's cool, and I am excited about this week's tools because
Because we've been playing them.
we've been playing with them, and I love them.
So, this week for episode 80, we are talking about STEM tools for elementary kiddos.
Oh, so the thing I'm really excited about is elementary kid games and not grown up. I got nothing. They're so fun.
They're so fun. So, I know the big push is always like getting kids, I don't know, like building STEM into your classrooms. We're always doing our reading and our math and building in science and social studies and community and writing. And there's so many things. And these sites are so easy to use to kind of throw like STEAM tools into your classroom naturally without having to do it like a separate, like we're going to do coding now or we're going to do engineering thinking today. Like
Yep.
this is just a natural, to me, they're just a natural way to like blend these topics into your classroom. And a lot of it's based on teaching the design process. So understanding like things can be changed and improved upon and changed again, and there's no right way, and you can change and make improvements all the time. So I think that
It's a metaphor,
thinking
really, for life.
right, it is, but thinking like teaching little kids how to think that it's not always going to be perfect and you can change something and that's okay. Like it's okay to mess up. The little person here in our house, she thinks things have to be perfect sometimes.
Yes.
And I know it's her age as well, but I just want to be like, no, it's okay. You try something else. No, it has to be exactly. It needs to be. So there's that. So anyway, so we are talking about STEM sites for elementary students, and she is kind of our guinea pig on these.
Yeah.
I have 2 of these sites I've used with other elementary staff at our school. And they use them off and on, and they're fun to integrate. And we'll talk about them. The first one, though, has been discovered by the kindergartner that lives in our house. And she has been rocking this one out she's talked about it for a while, but like really cranking on it this weekend. So I was like, oh, good. It'll fit right into what we're going to talk about. And for anyone who's seen Design Squad on PBS Kids, like, Design Squad is a whole show based on design thinking and STEM skills and engineering.
It is a very, very cool show if you have not watched it. Even if you are not an elementary teacher,
absolutely.
If you have kids, if you just want to check something out, it's really cool. It's
like
really
we
well
can
done.
all sit down and watch as a family, and it's not like, oh, we're
Right.
watching a kids
Yeah.
show. cool.
He's the dude that runs it is very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a kid his own kid. I think he's 3.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
And there's
maybe
another
younger.
woman that
Yeah.
explains like various
Oh yeah,
activities
yeah,
that you can do, and she's very thorough as well.
yeah.
Anyway, so it's cool. So if you haven't have never like discovered or dug around with Design Squad, that's kind of where we're starting with. But the website itself is pbskids.org/design squad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is our base site, which is, I mean, as a teacher, it's a huge set of tools for kids and parents. You can work on these things with your kids too, but there's a whole section. It's very kid friendly and easy to manipulate. They have a watch section where there's like videos based on different, like activities and experiments that you can try out and explore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go through designs where you're able to like upload your design ideas, and then they have like a global challenge, which is cool. So they pick like 4 kids' designs, and then they put them up on their website, and then you can redesign their designs or improve them, and you write your little explanation with it. So they like pull that design up, and then you have art tools, and you can draw online and make adjustments to designs that have been created, and learn about the design process that way. And what I appreciate is like with each piece, they have you like write and explain your ideas. It's not like you just do it and leave it. You have to explain kind of your process and what you've done and created. Then they have a little section on actual building, and the 5-year-old in our house calls it the scissor tool. She's like, click on the scissor button. And it gives you actual instructions for real activities that you can build and change and create on your own. And it tells you all the supplies you need and that kind of stuff, which is cool for if you want to do in-class activities. But the thing that we're actually clicking on, to me, it's always funny. Like, we're going to the game section,
Yeah.
which anyone can find a game section, like, coolmath.com. Like, there's always math. There's games out there that kids can play. But these, I feel, are worth noting that there's really a process and learning that's not just like sit and get learning, but actual thinking process has to go through with these activities. So like the Fidgit, what does she call it?
It's Fidgit Factory.
Fidgit Factory.
Yeah, they refer to it as Fidgit Factory on the show.
Yeah.
And the like promos in between episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But you go to pbskids.org. If you just search for Fidgit Factory, just click on the pbskids.org link. It's not really called Fidgit Factory when you get there. They call it that on TV, but it's really there's
the games,
4
and
different
then it's
fidget games.
Fidget activities.
And fidgets are characters.
Right.
But it's
because if you Google Fidget Factory, it's like a whole different. It's a I don't know, like it's a like thing you can buy, which is not this. This is free.
Yes.
So anyway, like they have a fidget power section where you learn about different types of like wind turbines and electricity and water energy, and you have to like get the power plants to get electricity to help the fidgets out. And then there's like feeding the fidgets, and you learn how aquaponics works, and you have like a fish tank, and you've got like little sections, and you have to build it with like virtual PVC pipe, and then grow your vegetables, and then feed the fidgets and count them out. Like there's so many different pieces that go to it. This evening we were playing Fidgets to the Rescue, where you have to basically engineer bridges and
they give you, so you need to get a little truck from one side of the screen to the other, but they put obstacles in the way, and you have 2 ways of getting them across. So there's a builder where you can build like a ramp, and you've got some constraints. You can only use like 8 clicks to make it happen.
it's like within graph paper.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then there's a little robot. So sometimes they have like logs and bricks that you can push into different areas to affect how you're going to get this fidget to drive from one side of the screen to the other to get the supplies where they need to go.
Right, you have like the ambulance to go save the other fidgets.
Right. So the user has to engineer a solution to get the fidget across the screen, and you can't have it too steep. Like there's a bunch of
like the truck will crash.
Yeah.
But then there's also like if you don't build it properly, it slides out of place. Like you have to have stability to it. Anyway, it sounds like really you just have to sit down with it and play with it.
Yeah.
And I would say,
Just
like,
fidget
I'm
with it.
saying this is for elementary kids, but honestly, like, as adults, we were thinking things through, and she was doing her, like, version of it, and we were
Hmm.
doing our version of it, and there's no
All of
exactly
dinner,
right way.
all of dinner tonight was her saying, "Mom, Dad, let's discuss how we're going to solve this solution.
Because we have to save the fidgets.
We had to save the fidget,"
And
and turned into a thing. And finally, she did eat her chicken nuggets, and we got the plane. So,
so really, I mean, it's engaging for kids and it's real problem solving
hmm,
without having. I know right now we don't have like a lot of manipulatives going on, or if you do, there's a lot of cleaning of manipulatives, but really, there is like real design process and real thinking happening, and it doesn't give you the solution. It's
right?
not like, oh, you get 3 tries. Nope, we're gonna show you how.
Yeah, no,
Like that doesn't happen. You have to figure it out
yep.
or give up, I guess. But so they are definitely worth having your students play or sharing with family or friends at home. Like it's pretty cool. So pbskids.org Design Squad. Again, it's Design Squad Global. They have their whole setup here, but the games and the Fidgit Factory activities are worth noting,
Yes,
and using with your elementary students for sure.
indeed.
Yay.
Check it out.
Check it out. Yes. And if you want, you can create a little account and stuff, but you don't have to be able to play. So that's my little like plug. Like it's definitely free, and then you can just play all you want to. So there's that. So our
Cool.
second website for STEM activities
Mhm.
for elementary students is okgosandbox.org. Now, I have talked about this before,
You have.
but I've never actually talked about it on the podcast. I've had many a discussion with other teachers in my school, and people like, oh yeah, it's so cool. We've talked about it, and I've seen it, and I've used it, and we've never talked about it. So, OK Go Sandbox is based on the band
Okay, go.
OK Go,
Hmm.
and they have put together such a cool collection of STEM lessons based on their music and songs and music videos. So there's categories. So you go to okgosandbox.org, and there's lessons. So there's different lessons you can pick from, like Upside Down and Inside Out. You click on it. They talk about the music video, what they have there. So you can definitely play that with your students because it kind of draws them into what's going to happen. And then um they have different activities, and they have it broken down for you as a teacher. So they do have things. It's like I think like 8th grade for sure, K-12 actually, because they have some based on like math and physics all the way up through high school. But it will tell you the lesson appropriateness, and then you click on it, and they have all of these resources. So like the art of experimentation. If you click on that lesson, they give you the music video. They give you then a lesson based on it, and then they have like different things in different lessons. So some of them have like an activity to do. They have like, here's the materials, here's the lesson plan, here's another video that goes with it. Some of them have like a worksheet that goes along with it. Some of them have like other science like explained with it. So they'll say like, this is math. This covers math and physics. Chain reactions. They have a whole setup with kind of like a Rube Goldberg kind of thing. And if you click on it, they have an educator's guide. Then they have different breakdowns of the videos and their explanations. And there's just so many cool like activities and ways you can use these in your classroom, not just during like science and math class, but you can build it into other discussions and just fun ways of learning design thinking without saying like, we're going to do engineering today.
Right.
But this like really breaks it down. They have hit the note, where you can do like music based on math and physics and science. And that one, they have a K2 lesson, a 3-5 lesson, and a 6-8 lesson. So they break it down for grade levels. And they have like simple machine scavenger hunt. There's just so many different cool things to incorporate these lessons into your classroom, and they're all based with like a music video, and the band explains it, and it's a cool way to learn these skills that doesn't feel typical.
Yeah,
like,
right. It takes it away from like school environment and makes it really like, like you're immersed in doing, like you can see these videos and how they do that, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of incorporate that into
Yeah.
getting the
It's
kids
like it's a
excited about
really cool
learning.
music video, and then here's the cool like physics behind how we
Yeah.
did that, and then here's different explanations and stuff. So it's a really cool resource to check out.
What I really think is cool is the OK Go sandbox is part of the Playful Learning Lab,
Mm-hmm.
which is from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And like they've got a bunch of tools. If you go to playfullearninglab.org, they have just a whole ton of educator resources, and like they have things at the Minnesota Children's Museum. They've got a thing called Playfest, Science Girls Code Concert. Like there's a whole ton of things that they have through there. So if you go to the OK Go sandbox, that will have the link on the website that you can go and click.
Mm-hmm.
If you scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on the Playful Learning Lab, it'll get you even more resources that maybe we'll talk about in other episodes. So someday down the road,
Yes.
maybe episode 180, maybe episode.
We'll talk about more of them.
Yes,
Just like our music, our Chrome experiments last week. Like, okay, we'll start this week, but we'll do it like 12 more times.
Yeah, but it's really cool to see
Yeah.
like University of St. Thomas is very
There's all kinds of them.
yeah, they're very invested in these kinds of learning activities for students and educators, and hands-on, and like working together to create engaging hands-on experiences for students and educators with a focus on play, which is
Yay.
really cool.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing a little tidbit. Yay.
Anytime.
Nice. So yes, okgosandbox.org. And then if you want to play around with playful learning, you can do that too.
You can.
All right. Our last site for this week is called kidsthinkdesign.org. And what's cool about this site is when we're always talking about design, I feel like it falls into like engineering, science, math, because we're talking about STEM stuff. But really, design thinking happens everywhere.
Yep.
And in all kinds of subjects. And so this site kind of broadens your horizon with design thinking and still teaching kids the concept of design thinking, but not necessarily in the same ways that we kind of do it. That really doesn't make any sense. But
so the non-traditional
yes.
ways.
So kidsthinkdesign.org has like World of Design, which is based on like maps and travel. Fashion design, graphic design, interior design, book design, product design, film theater design, architecture, animation, and environment. So when you go to the site, it looks like it's got all these it's got faces of different people. So you click on what you want to do. Like if you want to be a graphic designer or you're interested in that, you click on that person. And then what's cool is it gives you kind of a synopsis. So like this one is like Olympic Games graphics. And then they give you kind of a challenge. Like this is how all of these graphics are designed for the Olympics. They have a little section on meet a designer. So you learn information from actual graphic designers, which is cool. Then think like a designer. So then in that section, they talk about like how a graphic designer designs things. So looking at color value and contrast and like understanding like high contrast colors versus low contrast colors. So how that incorporates into graphic design. They give like a test your knowledge kind of thing. Then they have a design a project. So they give you a setup for a project and how to do that. And then like a toolbox of things that you would need. So like for this project, you need a computer and a printer. Okay. And then there's more projects to pick from. And then learning more, it gives you another section with additional sites that would link you to cool graphic design stuff. So they get you all set up to like learn about it, try it out, and then learn more about it, which I think is really cool. And they do that for each of the topics. So like when you pick World of Design, they give like how San Francisco was designed and the city was designed. And then again, they give you a designer, how you would think like a designer for that. And then the design a project, and it tells you like the tools you need again. And then learning more gives you additional sites to try out for different things. So it's really kind of cool. The setup is like, hey, I'm really interested in this. You can learn about it. You can try it out. They give you more options. And then you can learn those different types of design and actually apply them and try them out. I would definitely say this is like probably older elementary. So I'd say like
Sure.
3rd or 4th grade and up. But it's just it's a cool way of looking at design that's not necessarily the I'm saying like engineering setup or science or math setup that we see a lot of times with design.
Sure.
That, fashion design has the same kind of process. You look at something and you change it up and try it again and create. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
The when people go to design school, you kind of always think of like, oh, you're going to be an artist or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount, like this site shows you kind of that vast amount of things in that design field. That
Right,
you
the
can be.
thinking that goes into it and the
Right, like product design,
process.
like every single thing that like the microphones we're talking into, the computer that we're recording into,
Mm-hmm.
the smart board that you have up in your school, like all those things were designed by a product designer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's cool stuff. So and it's not just design isn't just photoshopping memes,
Or markers on
but
paper.
it is partly that.
Right. It is that too. But yeah, so that kind of just opens kids' eyes up. I feel like it's a cool way to explore different types of design and
Yeah,
shows them a lot of cool information.
I agree.
So yeah, a few STEM tools for elementary kiddos and anybody else who wants to play around with them because they're all quite fun to play around with. On episode 80. Hooray, hooray. Well, thanks for tuning in. It has been. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartnwi.com. Check out that snazzy EdTech Directory that's got so many things in it. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart NWI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed in this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we sure hope they do. And we'll talk to you next time on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.